Love you guys. Mwah. Hi. Hello. Hello. It's so good to be here with you guys. Light's not so bad. Untangled, episode 49. I'm really excited to be here. Can you guys let me know? Like, I just want to make sure the sound is somewhat okay. Not that I can do much about it, but um, you know. Hi, Lars. I love you, my friend. Hi, Loretta. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Arturney. Hello, Tina and Marge and Heidi and Sweet Fairy Fish, Angelo, Lori, it's good to see you. Kimberly, hello, my friend. I haven't seen you in a long time. It's good to see you. Hi, Robert and Nancy, Michelle, Haka, Cindy. Hey, Wes, what's up, my friend? Hi, Sarah and Jennifer Austin, good to see you. Marissa, Bridget, Tanya, Miley, hello, my beautiful friend. Hi, Will. Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm so excited to be here today. Do you mind if I just clean my glasses off? Okay. I wish I didn't have to wear glasses, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's called age. It's called just somehow the eyes getting tired of watching the world. No idea. I have my little booties here all the way from Perth. Yay. Well, thank you guys for joining me for another. Angelo, thank you so much for that super chat before I even started talking. What a gift. What a gift. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Untangled. Episode 45. We are making our way. I think it's been about a year since I started this. Basically what I do with Untangled every week at 9 a.m. California time is I just talk about what I am going through. And I always am aware that we are moving through a massive evolutionary shift in human consciousness. Every moment of every day, I'm aware of this. Every experience I have, every emotion I feel, every thought that I'm recognizing, every pattern that comes up, every place that I find myself, I'm always like, how is this a part of this evolutionary shift? How is this a part of what is occurring on the planet? Everything. Thank you so much, Mia, for the super chat. And so basically, Untangled is just a weekly update and kind of connection with everybody to talk about, hey, guess what? You're not alone. You are not alone going through whatever it is that you are going through that you don't understand or maybe think that you are going through alone. Nobody understands you. But this is why we came here. We came here to be in this evolutionary shift in human consciousness, to go through exactly what we are going through, this very physical, very energetic shift on the planet, which has become even more physically obvious and energetically obvious the last 3 years. So with that being said, let's get going. This is going to be an interesting one. Okay, so I'll just start first with where am I? Today I'm in San Diego. I was invited to go to a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Event in San Diego yesterday. And I had never heard Robert F. Kennedy speak. I know that he's running for president. I know that I didn't want to be a part of politics. I didn't want to be a part of any of that stuff because it's a corrupt system and it is part of the bigger sort of corruption that, the New World Order that sort of already has control over everything. And, I always have this, I've had this for quite some time, since I was like 12 or 13, to be completely honest, that, there's this like, the glass is half, empty feeling, which is like, and again, my whole life I've been this way. It's not like, oh, ever since I woke up on a certain age. It was like since I was 12. Nothing really matters. These powers that be, these families that own everything, they're going to take us down this really shitty path, and we're going to find ourselves in a one world government and blah 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 blah. and all the other things that are going to unravel underneath that umbrella. And so that's sort of always been my way of being in the world around politics. So a friend of mine said, hey, have you heard of Robert F. Kennedy? You know, he's running for president. And I was like, you know, listen, they're all bought, you know, they're all controlled. It's all a rigged system. And he said, well, just go listen. Let's go listen to him, right? He's got this event in San Diego. Just take a listen to one of his talks. And I'd heard him speak like on Instagram before, like little clips, you know, but I'd never actually heard him. And this isn't there's a reason I'm talking about this, okay? Because the reason I want to share about this is that we are in an evolutionary shift in consciousness, okay? And what that means, if you've been on the planet the last 3 years, you understand that what it means to shift in consciousness is that you have to consciously choose and consciously be aware of stepping out of old, I use the word old, right? But old ways of being, old systems that have been in place. We have to break out of them, however that looks, right? We're going to roll the dice and we're going to try all these different ways to break out of, or collapse, or burn from the inside out, whatever. There's a myriad of ways in which we can start collapsing these systems. Okay, so what are the systems? The political system, the school systems, the pharmaceutical systems, the banking systems, the insurance systems, right? There's all these systems, the religious systems. These are these large systems that are kind of like puppeteers that are running the whole world, okay? And we find ourselves in these systems. We live in these systems. And the way that the evolution happens is that there is an internal and an external shift. And the external shift is that you have to be aware of externally in the outside world what you are playing in, what systems up here, governmental, pharmaceutical, the banking, the educational, the religious, these systems up here, you have to be aware of what you are playing in. And then once you're aware of what you're playing in, then you have to start to choose if you're going to keep playing in them, or if you're going to move out of them and play in a different system. If you're not going to play in that system at all, if you're going to create a new system, if you're going to try to break this system apart, right? Again, there's all these different ways, but this is the evolution in consciousness. These systems will eventually, at some other moment on the planet, no longer be what is in power. Okay, it may be in 50 years, it may be in 100 years, it may be in 500 years. The time frame is dependent upon how each human plays and chooses to play in these systems. Okay, so that's the foundation of why I'm talking about RFK. Thank you, Martin, for the super chat. This is just inevitable. And there's all these different ways and all these different opinions, okay? So the governmental systems all over the world, okay, are basically in one big family, you know, multiple families, but they're all kind of in cohorts together. So it's, of course, it's major corruption on levels we don't even realize. Okay. In the United States, the corruption is so bad that, you know, most people are like, you know, not most people, a lot of people are like, my vote's not even going to count. It's red and blue. It's the same, the wings of the same bird, people say, right? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So if you're on the camp of, well, we've got to go in and break this system apart, right? We have to go into the system and break it apart. Okay. I don't necessarily believe that that's how we're going to do it. I think that we're going to probably no longer be participating in the systems at all. But let's just say that one of the ways that we're going to start to kind of try to break apart or break out of these systems is that we're going to go into the system itself and break it apart. If that's the case, then one of the ways in which we have to break this governmental system apart, right, is that we have to stop being in the divide, right? Divide is everything. It is the fastest way into the heart, meaning if there is no more divide, then humanity comes together, right? Then we become unified on some level. The heart opens. We begin to embrace each other. We begin to realize that even if we have differing opinions, we are still together. We're still side by side. Most likely, we still have the same sort of intentions for the planet, right? We don't want people to suffer. I'm just saying in general, okay? We want people to be prosperous. We want people to be able to have freedom, right? Now, again, there's all kinds of different opinions on how this how people should have that, blah, blah, blah. But the fundamentals of a human are pretty similar. And if these powers that be, these families and these sort of small group of people that are unfortunately or fortunately running the entire planet, if they can keep us in this divide, then it's a very empowered place for them, very disempowered place for us. Okay, so let's go back to the US government. Stay with me. Not what I wanted to necessarily talk about, but I'm going to talk about it because I just saw RFK last night. When you talk about the United States government, that's all I'm talking about, right? It's very, very divided. And if you have seen anything, so I'm going to talk about Republican and Democrat for a second, okay? Just play in this game with me, because on a much bigger perspective, none of this fucking matters. Okay. What the interesting thing about this evolution that we're going through is, on one level, we do have to go into the micro cosmic sort of evolution. We have to go into the systems. We have to talk about our government. We have to talk about sex trafficking. We have to talk about AI. We have to go in that micro level, right? But on a much larger macro level, right, there is this massive evolution that's happening regardless of what we do. It's going to happen anyway. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Put your seatbelt on. Here you go, right? Focus inward. How are you being? Are you looking at your internal traumas? Are you treating people well, right? This larger perspective. And so, regardless of what path you're taking, we've got in the United States this governmental system that has become so divided that many people, okay, that were Democratic 4 years ago have now switched over to become Republican, right? These labels are so stupid. They're so dumb. It's embarrassing, because it's just continues to create divide, right? It's just ridiculous. But anyway, so we've got the Republicans that the Democrats that turned to Republicans. We've got Republicans that moved over to the Democrat. It's a shit show in the United States. People don't even know what fucking side they're on, because the sides there are no sides. It's humanity. It's one, again, I'm just talking about the United States, which also is a divide, right? This idea that we're all these separate countries is a divide. And eventually we will recognize that we're not. But until then, we've got all these separatenesses, right? In the United States, the governmental system is completely being dismantled. It's dissolving. People don't know are they a Republican? Are they a Democrat? I'm none of it. I'm not going to vote anymore. It doesn't matter. It's corrupt, blah, blah, blah. That's part of the evolution in consciousness. It's part of it. The fact that you don't even want to vote any longer, if you've been voting, is part of the evolution. The fact that you don't know if you're a Democrat or Republican is part of the evolution. It's breaking. This is what it looks like to break down one small system, that's a very large system, in one small part of the world. Is that it happens without us even realizing that it's happening. That's evolution. And so the interesting thing about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I'm not going to have a debate on whether he's whatever he is. I'm going to say that when I heard him talk, you could feel that there is something different about his energy, that he's not necessarily a politician at all, and that it's possible, it's possible that he has the intention of bringing more of a unified awareness to the United States political system, governmental system. If you haven't listened to him, just go take one listen to him. Is the government corrupt no matter what? Yeah, for sure. Are these families, corrupt on some level? Probably. But when I listened to him speak, and I listened to Del Bigtree speak last night, the energy that came through was, this isn't about politics. This isn't about the right and the left. It's not about my side or your side. It was about coming together. Again, this is a microcosmic view, okay? So this view is still focused on a governmental system that is corrupt, on one singular country, blah, blah, blah. So I always like to hold both perspectives. I think it's extremely important. The other perspective being this macrocosmic view that this is all one big evolutionary shift, and that all humans have to recognize what they're in order to start to pull themselves break out of, and create perhaps new systems. So this to me is just another stepping stone in the United States. I don't know what's happening in your country, okay? But it's another stepping stone. It's a new way of experiencing a system, a governmental system, where perhaps for the first time in my lifetime in the United States, there is somebody showing up that truly is not fighting for one side or the other. And it's bringing a beautiful awareness to this asinine idea, absolute insane idea, that you have to be one side or the other. And that one side has to fight against the other side. It's nuts. It's crazy, and I don't know if it was RFK last night or Del Bigtree. One of them said, we shouldn't be choosing a person based on the side, the party they're in or whatever. It should always be about, the person. And RFK is also very, very aware of the corruption and the miracle that it will take. The miracle that it will take to actually beat the system and get in. That most of the United States, if you were a part of if you were on the planet, if you were in the United States for the last election, you realize that it was severely rigged, messed up. There was a lot of corruption in the voting. So it's very, very difficult for the United States to have any sort of, and that's part of the evolution, is to recognize, wow, it's all bullshit. And so the really interesting part about being in that microcosmic view of this evolution is, okay, so if you and I, we know that it's corrupt. The faith that we have that our vote may actually make a difference is probably a lot slimmer than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? For a lot of humans. But here's what's so interesting is the different choices that we have, the deep faith that we have to have in this macrocosmic understanding that this is a huge evolution in human consciousness. And on one level, yes, we can sit back and sort of watch this unravel, and a lot of humanity will do that consciously, and that's okay. But a lot of humanity is going to try to go into these systems, and do what they can to sort of blow them up. I don't know which way is the correct way. I have no idea. I don't know how we're going to move through this evolution. I don't know how we actually find ourselves out of these really powerful, potent systems that have been controlling the entire planet for thousands of years. Not exactly sure how we're going to get through it. Maybe it's going in and breaking out of the systems. Maybe it's choosing to create new systems. Maybe it's a combination of both. What I do know for sure is it's about awareness. It's about heart. It's about feeling. If nothing else, it is about trusting what you feel. Trusting, continuing to trust in a more unified, heartfelt, coming together energy. Anything that feels like pulling apart, separating, or creating a divide needs to just be recognized. Anything that points the finger at other people just needs to be recognized. It just needs to be seen. That's it. Anything that makes you feel warm and tingly inside needs to be recognized. Anything that brings you fear needs to be recognized. One of the reasons that you have been doing so much internal work the last couple of years is because I swear to God, you are preparing for what's coming. And what is coming is going to be even trickier. It's going to have a more sinister, trickster energy than the blatant, quite obvious experience we just went through the last 3 years. It will be trickier. It will be hidden in plain sight, but it will be hidden. I promise you it's not going to be as obvious. And so how do we navigate this? It's a feeling state. Well, how do we feel it? We become more energetic. Well, how are we doing that? How many of you, raise your hand, have been like almost like in a pause or a cocoon state or more alone by yourself than you ever have? How many of you have been feeling more, recognizing your thoughts more, going through more trauma than you ever have? Say yes in the comments if this has been your experience, right? Like, raise your hand if that's something that you've been experiencing, right? Most of you are going to say yes, right? Why do you think that is? Look at all the yeses. Why do you guys think that that is what we have been doing the last couple of years? Just to do it? Because we got to do this because we need to, find wholeness? No. It's so that we can be prepared for the more trickster, sinister energies that are going to confuse the fuck out of us. And we won't be able to necessarily point the finger and say, that's what's happening. It's a feeling state. It's a knowingness and a feeling state that we have to learn how to navigate going forward. And the way that you do that is you go so inward. You're feeling so much. You've been alone for the sole purpose of being able to come back into your body. This is where you are most empowered, right here. This is where your absolute truth lies. How many of you guys have been so confused? Like, I don't know if I should do this or that. I don't even know what I'm here to do. Nothing. There's no direct path for me right now. Right. I feel like maybe I should do this. I feel like maybe I should do. It's a shit. Like, tell me how many of you are in that space, right? Where you're like, I'm so confused. I'm like dangling in midair, like one foot in one thing, one foot in the other. Like, it's just been this energy of it's been a very, very different energy the last couple of years for us. And it's all for preparation for what's to come. And what's to come isn't a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. So many of you here listening and watching this live and on the replay are going to find yourself in this state of heaven on earth, regardless of what's going on in the external world. You're going to be able to listen to somebody speak if you aren't already, and you're going to know the intention behind it. This is about the wolf in sheep's clothing, the ability to see beyond the physical. When you start becoming an energetic human, you become the freaking master. You are mastering a physical world that is actually energetic. And the only way that we can navigate in a swift way this evolution is that we have to become energetic humans. That's it. We have to become feeling state humans. And so when you watch an RFK Jr., you're navigating, right? You're like, okay, let me feel into this. What does this feel like? Well, I know this is part of a very corrupt system. I know this, I know all these things, right? But there's something in my heart that's like, the heart state is a very different state than the mind state. Okay. So I highly encourage all of you to start paying attention to that heart state. The heart state is when you feel like crying for no reason because you're so emotional. There's something so beautiful and powerful about something, right? We are going to be, because we're becoming more and more superpowered humans, the manipulation in the external world by these systems are going to turn up. It's going to get louder and louder. You can't manipulate energies. What I mean by that is I cannot manipulate my actual energy. You will feel my energy. I can try to manipulate it by the way I move my body, by what I wear, by how I speak. Okay. I can try to manipulate you through the physical appearance, through my name, my title. I can try to manipulate you, but my energy is going to stay the same. Okay. I can try to manipulate my energy, but it won't work. You can't manipulate the actual true energetic expression of the human that's in front of you that you're listening to or you're watching. And all of you are becoming like these, you better start becoming these like radar humans, right? What am I actually feeling when I'm listening to this person? I spoke about this so much in 2020 and 2021. It was so huge. It was key. And we're back. It's almost like the energy right now is we were on the battlefield. God bless all of you for being on the battlefield with me. We were on the battlefield, and what a battle. And all of us were like, "Fuck, I'm done. I am done. I am battered. I've got bruises, broken legs, broken ribs, broken arms. One of my eyeballs is falling out. My tooth is gone. My lip is busted open. My hair is literally like burned off. Like we got beat up." So all of us have been like on the sidelines cleaning up. Cleaning up meaning coming back home, realigning, understanding energy more and more, which means that you've been feeling more, you've been recognizing thought patterns, you've been recognizing how you've been living in the world, who you have invited into the world, who you haven't invited into the world, how you're showing up in the world, because you've had time to sit back and be like, holy cow. So many of you are like, what's my work out there on the battlefield? Because you realize that you were just in a massive battlefield. And now you're like, holy cow, I'm pretty sure I'm still on the battlefield, but I'm on the sidelines of the battlefield. I know I got to go back out on that battlefield, and you don't know when you're going to go back on the battlefield. Well, we're preparing. We're starting to like, okay, we're getting our clothes back on. Telling you it's coming. So we're getting our clothes back on. Some of you have never left the battlefield, by the way. Some of you have been on that battlefield waiting, like, you're still doing it. Most of us took a little time out, but we're putting our clothes on, we're getting our gear ready, getting all our food, our preparations, our water, whatever the freak we think we need. But we've been in preparation on an energetic level. And one of the really interesting things that happened last night, because it really, really inspired me last night, because for me, if you guys know my work, everything that I do, everything that I teach, everything is around the remembrance of this huge evolution on the planet. So regardless of what system we're looking at, whether it's the sex trafficking, the pedophilia, the reptilian energies, the systems that we're breaking out of, the mind control, the oneness, and the the ability to just be in presence, right? All of this is part of the evolution. All of it. And so everything I see is through the lens of this is part of the evolution. And nothing's a mistake. Nothing is a mistake. Nothing that you feel, nothing that you are thinking in your head, no relationship that you're in, no friendship that you're in, no situation you find yourself in is a mistake at all. Everything is preparing you for whatever is next. So I find myself in this event last night, and I know that there are no mistakes. I don't know why the hell I'm at an RFK event. I had never heard this man speak a week ago. Um, I think he has a huge heart. I think that he has the potential to break apart this divided system that's so absurd, Democrat and Republican. It's embarrassing. And if you guys know me, if you're part of my Patreon community, you know that that I connect deeply with Prince. Okay, Prince is he was a huge warrior on the ground in human form. He was trying to break apart a very, very dark system, which is the entertainment system on the planet. The entertainment, the especially in the United States, the entertainment world is very, 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 very corrupt. And I channel every once in a while on my Patreon community, and I've channeled, which basically means just connecting to the energy of what we would call Prince, and I communicate with that energy and I speak it. It's always been extremely profound, very, very profound energy that comes through when it's Prince. And yesterday there was a band playing, and I was talking to this woman. And all of a sudden, the singer says, "Okay, we're gonna shake it up a little bit and play a real good song." And all of a sudden, they started to play a Prince song, and I forgot what Prince song it was, but within seconds, knowing it was a Prince song, my whole body started to vibrate. And I told the woman that was talking to me, I said, hold on a second, hold on a second, hold on a second. And I couldn't even communicate with her. My whole body just started to vibrate. And I started to get tears in my eyes. And she says to me, this woman, I didn't know her. I just met her. She goes, "What is this energy I'm feeling in my body?" She goes, "Holy shit." And her whole body was like vibrating. And she was like, what is this? And I was like, zip. I was like, it's the energy of Prince coming in. She goes, "Prince is here right now, huh? Right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so all her hair was standing up. She was floored by what she was experiencing. I'm familiar with it. When a really powerful energy comes into a space, your whole body will feel it. It's impossible not to if you're actually in the body, aware of the energy that's coming in. And I sat there for the whole song and just recognized that there are so many places around the world where change is trying to happen. Change that is still in corrupt systems, but change is trying to happen all over the world. There are energies beyond our comprehension that is participating in this change. And these changes are still going to happen inside corrupt systems. It just is what it is. It doesn't mean that it's not doesn't have the potential to make a massive change. And so I realized that there was something bigger happening with this RFK Jr. thing. I don't know what he's like behind the scenes. I don't know if he's corrupt or not. I don't know any of that. All I know is what is being presented to me and what I'm feeling and what I felt, and the potential to create unification. If nothing else, just freaking unify people. Okay. And so I knew something bigger was happening. You can't deny energy. I don't care who you are. You can think in your head, this isn't right, this doesn't make sense, there's no possible way, blah blah blah. But if you get into your body like this woman was, she didn't know what the hell was happening to her. I was like, oh, welcome to my world. This is what happens. She was floored. So at the very end of RFK's speech, he said something to the effect of, they don't even really have him on the ticket, on the primary tickets in a lot of places. They kind of think he's a joke. Um, they're the potential, it's going to be a miracle for him to actually uh, get on the vote, the ticket, the primary, to win the primaries. But he says if he does, he'll win the entire election. And the second he said that, moment he said that, he'd been talking for an hour. Moment he said that, this dove comes out of nowhere and goes straight in to the stage, swoops by his head, and goes off to the other side. The moment a white dove, the moment he said that, and it was like, what in the actual fuck? Like, it was very, 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 there was a lot, there were many, many signs, and that was one of them, right? Again, I don't know what happens behind the scenes. I don't know the man. I don't know any of that. But what I do know is what I felt. And there are so many systems, you guys, on this planet that have to be dismantled. And it takes human bodies at times to go in and dismantle them. And it's a huge feat that we are under. It's not just like, oh, let's look at the corruption and we're good. Oh, let's look at the mind control and we're good. Oh, like, there is so much that has to happen in order for us to continue to move through this evolutionary shift. And what is so profound to me, it blows my mind and it humbles me every single time, is this mind-blowing reality that not only are you coming back home to yourself, recognizing that you are the most powerful, intuitive, whole being of consciousness, with every answer you could ever need, with every ability to heal that you could ever have. So not only are you coming back to that awareness, that remembrance, in a world that has programmed you, mind controlled you, taken over your mind, and convinced you of every single thing that could possibly pull you from the truth of who you are. So you're moving back into that remembrance so that you can be an empowered, badass, sovereign warrior on the battlefield, which means energetic. But we have to participate in, watch, feel, look at, be a part of the dismantling of very, very evil and corrupt systems. And we do that by recognizing that there is heaven. There are doves in the midst of everything. There is heaven in the midst of everything. There is God in the midst of everything. There's beauty in the midst of everything. right? It's this deep, deep remembrance that you came here for this. There is nothing wrong with what is happening out there on the planet. Nothing. That when you start feeling what is actually occurring, you get to learn how to be in a quantum field. So you get to start to learn how to juggle the light and the dark. That's the quantum world that you're in, that many humans are trying to fight against. No, I'm not going to look at the dark. I'm only going to look at the light. I'm only going to look at the dark and not the light. It's like it's all here in every single moment. It's all here. The beauty and the corruption, it's all here, right now. It was so cute last night, like, meaning we have to we have to recognize, you have to remember what you're in, and you keep your heart open. In fact, the more that you see, the more your heart's going to open, whether you want it to or not. It's going to break open. Break open. Break means you're going to hurt. You're going to cry. You're going to break down. Okay? Welcome to the evolution in human consciousness. We've been in a very low vibrational, imprisoned state for thousands of years. You think we're going to break out of it and in glory and be like, "Oh, this is so awesome." No, you're going to break open. You're going to break apart. You're going to cry. You're going to realize the amount of suffering humanity is in. You're going to realize the amount of suffocation humans are in right now. You're going to realize the amount of poverty and the amount of evil and the amount of all of it. Okay, yes. And guess what else happens? Your heart opens. The amount of compassion that you start having for humanity is insane. The ability to start coming together regardless of what the other person thinks, feels, be. Do you know how freeing it is when you can literally wrap your arms around somebody and give them a hug, regardless of what their beliefs are? One of the things that I really, really love about this, about RFK Jr., is that there were Democrats and Republicans there, because that shit is ridiculous. It's just coming together with your heart open, saying, "Are we going to do this? Are we going to try to do this? Right? Can we bring the troops in and try to do this?" It has nothing to do with sides. That's what happens when that's why it's so courageous. It is so courageous, because even when you break out of the systems, okay, you then have to recognize, I want to run from the systems. I'm like, fuck them all. I'm just going to go inward, and I'm going to remember what's going on. I'm just going to keep my heart open. I'm going to try to be as compassionate and as loving as possible. I'm going to let myself have whatever I'm having. I'm going to experience it all. I'm going to have all my emotions. I'm going to look at all my limiting beliefs. But the systems, I'm going to let them just do what they're going to do. And sometimes we have to actually recognize that we have the potential. We have the potential to actually break the systems apart. And miracles happen every day. But it can be very daunting, and it can be very not encouraging, whatever that word is. And if you get caught, if you get caught in the ideas of, oh, this is controlled opposition, all that stupid, absolute bullshit. That's a controlled op person. That's a controlled op. Well, that's just two wings of the same bird. And that's all corruption. And that's that. That is also deep programming. Hate to tell you, but it is. A sovereign, aligned, whole, quantum, energetic human doesn't live through the lens of these really, really restrictive labels, including the government is so corrupt that I'm not going to vote, right? Or the it's two wings of the same bird, or it's all controlled ops, or it's just this, or it's just that. That's still playing in the matrix. That's still, you're still being mind controlled. I hate to tell you, but you are. A quantum unified whole sovereign energetic human doesn't give a fuck about any of that. All it's doing is being present with what is right here, right now, choosing from an energetic place. What does it feel like? What does it feel like? Period. That's it. Not what are the labels that I'm going to place on this because somebody's telling me that this is what it is. Not, oh, well, this is what all of the spiritual groups are doing. So this is what I'm going to do. And these are the words I'm going to use because these are what all the spiritual groups use. And so this must be the right way. No. The way we get through all of this is that we stop following all of the nonsense. We stop grabbing any of the group thinking type of things, any of the labels. Get back to you. Get back into what actually is, where is the resonance in your body and what are you feeling? And a feeling state is very different than like a logical mind thinking state. Telling you, it's very, very, very different when you are being asked. And there's a deep, deep, deep knowingness and remembrance within you that this next level of the game that we're about to play is going to be very different than what we have just played these last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. All of the ways that we have unraveled and awakened ourselves is going to be very different going forward. If we continue to perpetuate the divides that woke us up and that some so-called awakened, aware, conscious humans are still doing, we are literally just perpetuating and keeping in a status quo of the energetic frequency that the human collective is in right now. So we have to do this differently going forward. We have to do this from a feeling state. We have to stop following what anybody else is telling us. These trickster energies that are out there, these nefarious energies that have been around for thousands of years, are very smart. The energies are going to become more and more tricksterish. We're going to be more confused. We're going to want to follow people more. We're going to want to trust others more than ourselves because we're so close to recognizing that this is the next shift in the evolution. The next shift in our consciousness is trusting only you. And not the mind and what you're thinking and what labels mean. But what are you feeling when you're in a room? What are you feeling when you watch something? What are you feeling when you're hearing somebody? Thank you so much for the super chat, Jennifer. The moment you don't listen to somebody because of ... I'm not going to listen because it's all corrupt and it's not going to make a difference and it's blah, blah, blah. Pay attention to that. That's a restrictive state. That's a closed off, restrictive state. In my opinion, the more quantum, energetic, masterful human is open to anything. Because there is a part of you that is here to open up to whatever is going to unravel so that we can get through this. Let me see it. Let me hear it. Stay open. Stay open. These closed-minded things, even these ideas that, well, if you use this word, then you're creating this reality. Like you say, good morning, it's like, oh, well, you're saying morning and morning means that you're already perpetuating a horrible day or whatever, you should be saying good rising. Well, even that is a programmed state. You know, the quantum unified whole human doesn't give a fuck about the word because they're in an energy. Energy is way more powerful than a word you say. I'm telling you, the more you become energetic, you realize it doesn't matter what you say out the mouth. I could say shitty morning and I'm feeling fucking amazing. Shitty morning to you, but I feel great. First of all, I wouldn't say shitty morning, right? But like we're still being held. We're still being held in a very, very controlled state by thinking that we are awakened, by still believing these awakened thoughts that, oh my God, the words I use are gonna perpetuate my reality. Sure, if you're still believing in mind control. But when you start mastering the energetic world, I'm sorry, I hate to tell you this, but yes, these words were used as spells. Yes, these words were used to manipulate and control a lower frequency human that you're not. When you start becoming a more awakened, energetically higher vibrational human, you break out of that spell of the words and you don't give a fuck. You don't give a shit. I'm sorry for saying the cuss words, but you don't, because you're outside of it. So you're not even playing in the ideas of, I better change my words. Because if I don't change my words, I'm creating, they're spellbounding me. Unless you realize that it's all a fucking illusion and you're an energetic human that can't be controlled no matter what. So it doesn't matter what words you say. And you're not going to go around and say these words anyways, like you're not going to go around and say life sucks and feel great. That doesn't make any sense. Your energy is going to reflect your words if you're in alignment. But this is what it looks like to we have to start to get real clear on what we're still in. We're starting to get real it's like refining. There is a refining in our awareness and in our consciousness. And thank you all for actually being here and being a part of this massive evolutionary shift. Thank you for having all of your opinions and all of your beliefs and all of your rage and all of your all of the heartbreak and all of the suffering and everything that you have gone through from the moment you incarnated into the human body until the moment that you find yourself right here, right now, taking your next breath. There is nothing easy about this, and yet it is the most incredible, miraculous experience that you will probably ever have as consciousness. Hands down, this is the place that consciousness wants to be, right here, right now, on this planet, trying to unravel, to figure out, to remember, to remind, to be, to feel, to pull your hair out. This is why you're here. To recognize all of the systems, these really fine lined type of programs that we're still in, and these large programs that we're still in, and the illusion that we're in this, and the matrix, and the way in which we follow all of these people, and the way and have the difficulty of coming back into our own state of wholeness. All of it is like mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. And every tiny little breath that each of us takes throughout the day is bringing us through this evolution. And, it's just begun. It's just begun. It's just begun. So, summarizing this. Thanks for being here. It's the best. That's the biggest summary. Pay attention, you guys. Whatever you are in right now, whatever you are going through, it is part of this massive evolutionary shift, no matter what it is. Everything that you've been going through the last couple of years, has been a perfected part of this shift. Most of you are in a very different state energetically, whether you realize it or not. You are more aligned, whether you realize it or not. You are more back in body, whether you realize it or not. You're capable of feeling much more, whether you think that you've been feeling most of your life. I promise you, you're in a different feeling state. You're aware of more of the programmed thoughts. You're becoming more humble. You're becoming more conscious. You're holding firmer boundaries. You're much more confused. You're moving more into a flow state, so you're not exactly sure what's going on and how to stay in that state with faith and trust. You're remembering more and more in these tiny ways. Life may seem more and more difficult and challenging. Life may seem more and more amazing and incredible, right? But everything is constantly shifting. Everything is changing constantly, whether it's a tiny change in your life or a big change in your life. And it's going to continue. Every single moment of every second of the day is bringing us back into our ability to be this quantum energetic human so that we can hold hands with the entire human collective and walk them through this. I said this last week, I'll say it again. I say it in every talk that I give. You didn't come here on the planet. You have not incarnated as the most beautiful light consciousness into a very, very dense physical form for yourself. You didn't. You didn't do it to get married, to have children, or to have a beautiful career, to eat food, whatever it is. You did that, but the number one reason that you as consciousness, this beautiful, amazing light, decided it would be a great idea to incarnate into the densest physical reality that you could be in when you still had awareness. The third dimension is the densest physical reality that you can incarnate into, that you could be in and still have awareness. You did it because you knew that there was going to be a physical shift in consciousness on a planetary body, and that you were going to be a part of it. That's why you're here. And so everything is continuing to point you back to that. Everything. You may be here assisting in this evolutionary shift by raising children. You may be here assisting and shifting the evolution in human consciousness by supporting your partner. You may be here doing your part in assisting the human evolution and consciousness by working at a bank or a grocery store. You may be doing volunteer work. You may be at home, laying on your couch, sick and, disabled, and you are participating in it through your interaction with humans, in whatever way you interact with them. Nobody that is beginning to, going to, or is awakening right now into the awareness of what this is, isn't doing what they came here to do. All of you are right here, right now. You just forgot what it is that you're doing. And you look out at the world and you compare yourself and you have this idea of what you should or shouldn't be doing. And meanwhile, behind the scenes, there's this deep awe of what, what you're doing, who you are, what you've gone through. what you're going to continue to go through. We don't hold that through this really small lens that we use as the self-identified human, egoic human with the name that we associate ourselves with. So with that being said, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being with me for another episode of Untangled. Go listen to RFK if you haven't. Don't listen to RFK. Listen to you. Listen to you. Listen to what resonates. Listen to what your absolute truth is. Let your heart break. Let it open. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Give yourself a break. Give yourself permission to be in whatever you're in. And more than anything, even if it's just for this one moment, it's one breath you take, remember the deeper awareness you have that you came here for this and that there are no mistakes. None. I'll see you next Tuesday, 9 a.m. California time for Untangled episode 50. I love you guys. Mwah.